Welcome to Learning Mathematics with Mr. K. Today, in my video, we are going to be looking at nth term of a linear sequence. And example 1, find the nth term of the following sequence: 5, 3, 11, and 14. This is the first term, second term, third, and fourth. How do we find the nth term of this sequence? The first thing we need to check is this going up or going down? Is it increasing or decreasing? And as you can see from this video, 5 had 3 gives 8. 8 had 3 gives 11. And 11 had 3 gives 14. This is a linear sequence. Why? Because the difference between the first and the second term is constant and is going up by 3. Now that we've been able to identify the difference between terms, term to term difference, the next thing is for us to find the timetable for 3 times table, and that will give us 3n. 3 times 1 will give us 3. 3 times 2 will give us 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 4 is 12. Now, we look at our 3 times table, the difference between our sequence and the 3 times table. Now, as you can see that you need 2 to get to 5. And you need 2 from 6 to get to 8. So, my nth term is 3n plus 2. Now, 3 plus 2 gives me 5. 6 plus 2 gives 8. 9 plus 2 is 11. And 12 plus 2 is 14. That is how to find the nth term of a linear sequence. Now, let's take a look at another example. Let's take a look at another example to find the nth term of a linear sequence. Another good example is 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Now that we've got this, to find the nth term of this sequence, the first thing we need to check is the difference between term to term. Now, 5 had 5 gives 10. 10 had 5 is also give 15. 15 had 5 gives 20. Now, you can see that the term to term difference is constant, is increasing by 5. It shows that our sequence is linear. The next thing we need to do is to find our 5 times table. 5n. 5 times 1 gives 5. 5 times 2 gives 10. And 5 times 3 also give what? Also give 15. And 5 times 4 gives 20. So now our nth term is 5n. Our nth term is 5n. That is 5 multiplied by 1 gives 5. 5 multiplied by 2 gives 10. 5 multiplied by 3 gives 15, and so on. Now, let's quickly take a look at another good example that has to do with negative. Now, let's look at this. 18, 15, 12, 9, and 6. This is another good example. The first thing we need to check before we can find the nth term of this sequence is the difference between term to term. And you can see that this is going down by 3. It's also going down by 3. It's going down by 3. It's going down by 3. And as you can see that this is a linear sequence because we have a constant difference between term to term. So therefore, we need to check our 3 times table, 3n, and this will give us what? 3 times 3 will give, 3 times 1 will give us 3, will give us 6, will give us 9, will give us 12, and this will give us 18. Now that we've been able to identify this, we need to check what we need to add to 3. This is -3, this is -6, -9, -12, and so on. We want to see what we can add to -3 that will give us 18, and that is 21. So now our n term will be -3n plus 21, and that will give us 18. When our n is 2, -6 plus 21 will give us 15. When our n is 3, -9 plus 21 will give us 12. When our n is 4, minus, that will be 12 plus 21, and that will give us 9. As you can see, our n term is -3n plus 21. Now, let's take a look at another good example of a given term, and we are being asked to do what? To generate the next 5 sequence. Now, an n term, 5n minus 1, is given, and we want to use this n term that has been given to generate the next 5 sequence. The first thing we need to do is, this is our term, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when our n is 1, our first sequence will be 4. When our n is 2, our sequence will be 9. When our n is 3, our sequence will be 14. When our n is 4, our next sequence will be 19. And lastly, when our n is 5, our sequence will be 24. So now we have been able to generate 5 terms from a given n term. That is how you can generate sequence from a given n term. Let's take a look at another example of a given term for us to generate sequences. Now we are given another term to be 3n plus 3. 3n plus 3. I want to use this n term to generate the next 5 terms. Okay, when our n is 1, our first term will be 7. That is 3 times 1, which is 3, which is our first term will be 6. 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 3 will give us 6. And when our n